Karibuni sana ndugu watazamaji na wasikilizaji wa channel hii ya Dives TV 74. Ifuatayo ni ratiba kabambe ya kombe la dunia. Siku ya Jumapili muda wa saa 1 usiku ni siku ambayo macho na masikio vinaelekezwa uwanjani ili kusikiliza, na kwa wenye bahati wataona live mechi itakayochezwa baina ya wafungua dimba yani Qatar versus Ecuador. Tarehe 20 hiyo. Novemba tarehe 21 2022, Senegal versus Uholanzi saa 7 mchana 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. England versus Iran saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Qatar versus Ecuador saa 1 usiku, that is 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Marekani versus Wales saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. 22 November 2022, Argentina versus Saudi Arabia saa 7 mchana, that's 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Denmark versus Tunisia saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Mexico versus Poland saa 1 usiku, that is 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Ufaransa versus Australia saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Tarehe ya 23 Novemba 2022, Morocco versus Croatia saa 7 mchana, that is 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Ujerumani versus Japan saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Hispania versus Costa Rica saa 1 usiku, that is 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Ubelgiji versus Canada saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Tarehe 24 Novemba 2022, Uswisi versus Cameroon saa 7 mchana, that is 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Uruguay versus Korea Kusini, that is saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Ureno versus Ghana saa 1 usiku, that is 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Brazil versus Serbia ni saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Novemba tarehe 25 2022, Wales versus Iran saa 7 mchana, that is 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Qatar versus Senegal saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Uholanzi versus Ecuador saa 1 usiku, that is 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. England versus Marekani saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Tarehe 26 Novemba 2022, Tunisia versus Australia saa 7 mchana, that is 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Poland versus Saudi Arabia saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Ufaransa versus Denmark saa 1 usiku, that's 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Argentina versus Mexico saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Novemba tarehe 22 mwaka huu 2022, Japan versus Costa Rica saa 7 mchana, that is 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Ubelgiji versus Morocco saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Croatia versus Canada saa 1 usiku, that is 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Hispania versus Ujerumani saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Tarehe 28 Novemba 2022 ni Cameroon versus Serbia saa 7 mchana, 13 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Korea Kusini versus Ghana saa 10 jioni, that is 16 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Brazil versus Uswisi saa 1 usiku, that is 19 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Ureno versus Uruguay saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Tarehe 29 Novemba 2022 ni Ecuador versus Senegal saa 12 jioni, that's 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Uholanzi versus Qatar saa 12 jioni, that's 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Iran versus Marekani saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Wales versus England saa 4 usiku, that's 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Tarehe 30 Novemba 2022 ni Australia versus Denmark saa 12 jioni, that's 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Tunisia versus Ufaransa saa 12 jioni, that is 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Poland versus Argentina saa 4 usiku, that is 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Saudi Arabia versus Mexico saa 4 usiku, also is 22 hours, that's Greenwich Meridian Time. Tarehe 1 Disemba 2022, Canada versus Morocco saa 12 jioni, that is 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Croatia versus Ubelgiji saa 12 jioni, that's 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Costa Rica versus Ujerumani saa 4 usiku, that's 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Japan versus Hispania saa 4 usiku, that's 22 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. 2nd December, tamana tarehe 2 mwezi wa 12 2022, ni Ghana versus Uruguay saa 12 jioni, that is 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Korea Kusini versus Ureno saa 12 jioni, that is 18 hours Greenwich Meridian Time. Cameroon versus Brazil saa 4 usiku, that's 22 hours Greenwich